So let me know what you guys have cooked up for today or this week. And by the way, if you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can information box down below. You can check out my website, Kittens. You can check out Desert Cauldron. If you are looking for ways to support the channel, you could check out Patreon or YouTube members. Yeah, lots of goodies coming out, especially for those groups, because we have some end of the month goodies. So, all right. I want to thank all of my mighty moderators. I also want to give a shout out and a thank you to my YouTube members, Kayla, Nancy, Astra, Jolene, and Duality Tales. And thank you to all of my subscribers and everybody who hangs out with us on the live chats, all of my patrons, Lily, Dana, Jamie, Kayla, Surian, Brandy, Jason, Brian, Karen, Sarah, Palu, Crystal, Easy Does It, Oz, Joel, Mikey, and Casey Gritter. Love you guys. Oh, hey, Kayla is here. And yes, Slopstick is here. Kayla says hi, Tara, and everyone. All right, so today, what you guys had voted on in the polls, which, by the way, if you're new to the channel and you don't know about the polls that I speak of, usually on Thursdays, I put out a poll on my YouTube channel page, and that poll also goes to my patrons and my YouTube members. So if you are a patron or you are a YouTube member, then if there's something you want to see on it. So the vote for this week was to create a tarot spread for the new moon. And it says, hello, there appears to be a lag. Yeah, a little bit. For some reason, or it's not really the internet. I think it's YouTube, but I don't know. We'll see. I do weekly reading before we create our DIY new moon tarot spread as a community. So I have a few decks here and I want to share them with you. I don't know if I'll end up using all of them, but I brought them out here anyways. But let me know what decks you guys are working with for this weekly reading, because I think that when everybody contributes messages, downloads that you guys get, it just creates such a more well-rounded reading than just listening to my higher self, but if you get all these higher selves in, it's pretty cool. So let me know what you guys are working with, whether you have decks, runes, pendulums, or you're just doing some good old-fashioned channeling, which would be amazeballs. Okay, so I have the Goddess Within Oracle with me, which the backs look like this, and it's such an amazeballs, gorgeous art deck. Love it. Let's see. Also have them in my little pouches. In this little pouch, of mine, I have the Practical Magic Oracle, and these look just like this. Also, again, beautiful artwork and cards. And then lastly, Miss Scusi Madex. Lastly, in this cute little bee pouch, which my friend Steph had gifted me a while back, I have the Mythos Tarot. So beautiful gilded edging. This deck is gorgeous. It looks just like that. So beautiful. Maybe I'll use that for the weekly reading. Thank you. Thank you. Alrighty, so we have coffee in hand, and I have a nice warm hippo on my tummy to keep me warm. Although it's actually not that cold. I get to wear a dress today. I'm so happy. I got to wear a dress yesterday. So, we are now in the throes of spring. Maybe we'll have one more cold snap, but then I think it's moving right along into a nice warm spring, maybe a nice hot summer. That would be freaking excellent. Pavitra is here. Hello, hello. Says, hi, ma'am. Okay, so like I said, I will use the Mythos Tarot. This will actually be my first time using the deck. So, hey. Stay tuned for its inauguration. Okay, I'm going to put that right there. All right, so let's do the initiatory shuffle. But while I'm doing that, let me know, what did you guys do this past week? What were you guys up to? Were you guys up to any troubles? You guys do anything fun, or do you guys have anything planned for this upcoming week? Maybe what you guys did this past weekend. So, any fun things this yesterday? Janine, oh, awesome, Janine! I would love to pull a card for you as well. So let's pull a few cards for the weekly reading, and then Janine will be the first of our super chats and super stickers. Hey. Okay, so let's do another big shuffle with this deck because, again, it has never been shuffled before. You're seeing it for the first time on the YouTubies. Let's see. What did I do last night? Last night, I got to make some pasta, some yummy pasta sauce that my neighbor Angie had gifted me. So, Angie, love you. Mwah, thank you. And my other neighbor, Jim, his wife baked some delicious cookies. So I had some couple of her mint chocolate chip cookies last night. They were very good. And he brought by a big box of fruit from his house in the valley. So that was nice. Okay, I think these are all nice and shuffled. Some of them hit the ground. Maybe they just wanted a bit of grounding. That's cool. That's cool. All right. And Pavrithra, sure, yeah, we will do you and Janine, we will do your super chats and super stickers right after we slang some cards for this weekly reading. All right, so let's do it. Hold on. These cards I put in the wrong way. It would help if they're all facing the right direction, right? Okay. So what can we know about this upcoming week? Pull 3 cards. Let's see what we got. Ooh, we have the Strength card, Atlas. Janine says she's just been working, nothing exciting. Ah. We have the Fool card with Pan. And then we also have, the Magician with Hecate. All right, so let's put all of these together. Strength, Fool, and Magician. Beautiful pieces of artwork, I must say. All right, so let's put these together. Okay, all right. So for many of us, it seems like, a lot of people have been talking about all the big changes that were occurring kind of towards the tail end of 2024. And then for some people, there was big changes happening, at the very beginning of this year. Some, it feels like the changes are still going on. And so it seems like some people have made some headway, in those changes, whether it was through healing or, maybe took some, scary leaps, like the Fool's leap, doing things that were outside of their comfort zone, and in that respect, in that shift of energy, whenever you are trying something new or you do something that is outside your comfort zone, you end up creating new energetic pathways. And so it feels like that's what's really coming up for us this week, are opportunities and new energetic pathways that wouldn't have been opened up to us previously had we not made some of the changes that we did this past week. So like I said, it could have been through healing. It could have been just maybe finally, speaking your truth. It could be, a mindset that you changed. It could have been a belief system that was shattered and, and it started to get reworked, whatever it may have been, whatever thing that was that Fool's leap for you, where it was something different, something awkward, something outside the comfort zone, something scary. that has created some newness for you that, the ego mind just can't even comprehend this upcoming week, where it's like, oh, wait, how is that even possible? It's possible because you did something that was outside the norm for you. And so we definitely have some new incoming magic for all of those people. So yay, I'm looking forward to that. I want to see what my other Oracle deck will have in maybe in addition to that, or maybe something else we could learn. Actually, let's do this one. Lily is here. Hello, hello. Janine says, I do not watch every weekend now, as I have my grandson and alternate weekends. Oh, well, when he is there or you see him next, give him hello, hello, lots of love. And then Nadram says, I am from Nepal. Where are you from? I am in the United States, actually. So welcome, welcome. Manisha is here. Hello. All right, so we are pulling that Oracle card for this upcoming week, seeing if it could give us any more clarity or perhaps something else to look at for this upcoming week. And it says, feel your emotions, Lady of Water. Okay, so with that, what I was talking about, some of the changes you may have made last week, or doing things just a little bit differently, or like beliefs have changed and things like that, creating these new pathways that are coming up for us this week, new doorways, that in that there might be some, emotional release that goes along with it. It could be, just a, overwhelming, just tears of gratitude, whatever it may be. Allow those emotions to flow. You might even be surprised by some of the emotions that come to the surface. Sometimes we get confused when, let's say, something really good is happening for us, and then all of a sudden we feel like anger coming to the surface. We may not know why. So give time to really recognize those emotions. Even if they're confusing, just go ahead, get them out, but also try to understand where they're coming from as well, because our emotional body is also trying to speak to us, just like our physical body, our energetic body, everything's trying to speak to us. So go into those emotions, even if, like I said, if they don't line up with what is occurring in the moment. So like, let's say something wonderful is occurring in the moment, we have anger coming to the surface. Well, why is that? Instead of just saying, okay, well, that's a weird emotion, and then pushing it off to the side, our emotional body is trying to speak to us. So do make sure that you look into that, as I will too, because I am also a part of this weekly reading. Manisha is asking if they can ask a question. Sure, through super chats and super stickers, which, by the way, let's go ahead and dive into that, since we already have our first person, Janine, who I'm happy to pull a card for. Sorry, it is getting kind of warm in the sunshine. So, all right. Let's go back here to Janine's question. What positive new starts could I have moving forward with my continued focus on authenticity? Any particular goddess that would be a support for me? Ooh, actually, hey, okay. Let's use that goddess deck. Where are you? Oh, other bag. Goddess within. Let's do it. Yes. Okay. I'm going to close this one up. All right. So we have our goddesses within. So let's tap into that. All right. So any new starts that could have moving forward that continue to focus on authenticity. Okay. Okay, as I'm just shuffling the deck, it's like I'm seeing, almost like friends dancing around a fire, like a campfire, and one of them is beating a drum, but like everybody's just so happy and singing and dancing, and what a beautiful visual. Okay. Let's see who we have here. Ooh, Boudica or Boricha. All right, so let's dive into what she has to say. Okay, so Janine, the message from this particular goddess, again, it's Bodicha Borca. Um, she was showing that the more you speak who you truly are, you know, your authentic self, the more it connects to, you know, that reading that we were having for this weekly reading. So it seems like maybe what's coming up for this upcoming week is actually also connected, you know, to you as well, more strongly connected to you as well, where you know, doing something that is outside of the norm for the self, where, you know, maybe before you spoke your truth, but maybe not in every social situation or, you know, in every, you know, this or that. So the more that occurs, the more your energetic state is changing, you know, the frequency that you're putting out. And if you're putting out a different frequency, then everybody who's attracted to that frequency, it might be slightly different as well. It could be, you know, some of your group of the same people, but also perhaps new people, like I said, new doorways, new pathways, so new opportunities for you coming up this week. And she really is asking you to continue, even when it might seem there was like a feeling of awkwardness or being around people that you know. So this isn't necessarily just being around strangers, but actually it's more when you're around the people that have known you for a long time, where you may be so used to being a particular type of person around somebody that you've known forever. Like, let's say, I don't know, our a cousin, you know, a cousin who's known us since we were like little kids, and we've always kind of gone along with what everybody else wanted to do. But now in, you know, kind of where you're at right now, you're more into, you know, speaking out the things that you want to do, being more assertive. And that might be something that's a little different than what your cousin is used to. And since you know this on a conscious level, it might be like, oh, well, you know, it's the, I'm trying to, to, embrace more of the energy I want to be, but at the same time, it feels awkward knowing that I used to be in a completely different energy with this person. And so sometimes it makes it harder to stand more in my authenticity because I know how I've been, you know, with these people who have known me for a while. I was just using a cousin as an example. I'm not saying your specific cousin, but I'm saying that could come up this week for you as well. You know, as you move forward in this journey through authenticity and speaking that truth, that sometimes it might be a little bit more difficult, especially around the people who have known us. And sometimes it's a lot easier around strangers because they have no basis. You know, there's no, oh, well, that person used to always act this way. It's like, well, they don't know me from Adam. So I get to just, you know, be who I am in this present moment. But this goddess here is really wanting to help you with being who you are in the present moment, no matter who it is that you are speaking to or who it is that you are hanging out with. So I'll leave her there for just a moment in case you want to write down her name and maybe do a little bit of research on her. It seems like there might be a few more messages that pop up when you do a little background check on this particular goddess. But yay, Janine, thank you for allowing me to pull a card for you. And then Pavitra, this is ma'am, current feelings of Sudhir. So, all right, I will definitely dive into that. Thank you so much for doing a super chat. Universal energy. All right, this is, will my police academy paperwork be accepted and approved? Will I become a certified sheriff's deputy? How cool! I will definitely love pulling a card on that as well. Raymond, good morning. Can I ask a question? Sure, we're doing super chats and super stickers. So if you'd like to ask a question through there, I would be more than happy to pull you a card. And our buddy John is here. What's up, John? All right, so Pavitra, let's pull a card here. Current feelings of Sudhir. You know what? Let's use this deck. I mean, so many wonderful decks to use. Okay. So let's tap into your energy while I shuffle. Okay, so just kind of puffy through while I was tapping into your energy, it looked like he was like at a desk, just like writing, and just it seemed like he was very involved in it's like writing stuff down. Like his brain is in um, logic mode, trying to figure things out. Perhaps busy mentally, maybe with work or school. But let's see here. What are Sahir's current feelings? All right, so we have the Six of Coins with Thea in this Mythos tarot. Let's tap into it. Okay, so at the moment, again, he isn't minding having a like a two-way street communication, making connections and things like that. He's still not in a emotional space yet, like so let's say for a relationship or anything. It doesn't feel like that's what's actually on his mind, which is probably why when I was seeing his energy, it was like at a desk writing things. It seems like he's very much, grounded in the physical world right now, and very grounded in his ego logic, where it's like, I'm on the ego surface level. I need logically, to figure out these things. So he's not super in his heart space at the moment. He's more in the mind, but that's probably because of some of the things that he has going on in his life right now. So I would say emotionally, I don't feel that there's a huge emotional attachment that he's putting out, with you right now. But it does seem like he wants to have, some sort of like connection, communication going. As I still get that same feeling. I think this is what I said last week, that he does find you intriguing. So there's wanting that connection, but it's not quite an emotional connection with you, if that makes sense. But that's good. That's a good start. Sometimes, like we say, people have to start off as friends before they can be lovers, right? All right, so let's go through here. Janine says, likely to be my dad. I live with him and he can be very triggering at times and issues related to childhood. Thanks. You're very welcome, my friend. Joshua, yes, we're doing super chats and super stickers. If you would like to have a one card pulled for you, I'd be more than happy. Knowledge Harvester, what's up? Daya says, hi, ma'am. Hello, hello. All right, so we also have Raymond Torres, which we have after our friend Universal Energy Circles. And then we have Raymond Torres, then we have Knowledge Harvester. And then we have 11. Hello, 1111. What is up? All right, so let's go back to our friend Universal Energy Circles. Yay, I'm super excited. So wondering if the police academy paperwork will be accepted and approved, because they want to know if they. Very cool. Okay, let's do a little shuffle, shall we? But let's tap into your energy first. Okay, well, that's interesting. When I was tapping into your energy, I was hearing like the punch, like punching in and punching out at work, the punch clock. So it's like I keep hearing this, it was like punch, punch, but then it started sounding like the cash register, like cha-ching, cha-ching. And then that song that says, money, it's a gas. D D D D D D D D. Okay. So that's a good sign, hearing the punch card go in and out. So let's pull a card though, and let's see. Okay. Ooh. And we have the Page of Wands. That's promising. And we have Humera on this card. representing that particular mythos. Okay, so let's dive in because I'm hearing that punch card. And then we got the Page of Wands here, which is, you know, kind of like a novice, somebody who's starting out in something. But let's tap in intuitively. Okay, so I am getting that you will be accepted. It may not be as smooth as you would like, where, you know, it's like, okay, great, you've been accepted, you know, hey, come on in, come on into the program. But there might be just a couple other things they may have you do or fill out, or you know, take a little do a little bit extra on, just to get it fully approved and sent through. So I do feel like a positive, like, yes, it, like I said, it will be accepted, maybe conditionally, with you also doing this or you also filling out this. But you know, it does feel like, you know, obviously you will do what they ask, and so it will get fully approved after that point. So yay! Super excited for you. That's awesome. So happy. Okay, so let's go through here. Oh, we have our friend Raymond Torres. Um, oh, wondering if the fiance will apologize for overreacting. All right, we will definitely look into that. Thank you, Universal Energy Circles, for helping out the channels. All right, so thank you, Kayla, for helping keep me on track. Real Martin says, hello, Aries in the house. Hello, hello. Um, Excellent. Universal Energy Circle says, thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's go to our friend Raymond Torres. Let's tap in. Let me have a little sip of the cafe. Okay. Okay. So I was seeing like a person sitting on a couch by themselves, like thinking, like, you know, at first feeling justified in how they reacted, but then almost feeling a little embarrassed, you know, like maybe I could have reacted differently, perhaps not in the way that I did. But it feels like it's more of almost like a pride issue, feeling like, but, you know, if I apologize, then I feel like my, you know, I cancel out the feelings that I emoted, you know, the other day, where person does feel like they were bothered, they were upset. Perhaps they could have shown it in a different way, but they feel like an apology would mean that they didn't mean all the some of the things that they were saying and doing, which they were like, I did mean some of those things. Maybe I didn't need to go as intensely as I did. But they're not understanding like maybe how I could apologize, but then also at the same time say that I really was upset and I just didn't know how else to express that to you. So let's pull a card though and really get some clarification, because that's just kind of like the back and forth, you know, just the symbolic visual of the person on the couch just kind of debating like, well, if I don't say anything, that could be bad, because I know that maybe I did say some things that were a little too strong. But then if I do say something, I feel like then what I said didn't matter, and it did matter, and I did really mean some of the things I said, but maybe not to the intensity that I expressed them. Okay, so let's see here. Ooh, we have the devil with Hades. Okay, you may not get the straightforward apology that you are looking for. I believe that your fiance is going to try to apologize in more nonverbal ways, like doing something nice for you, or cleaning up the kitchen, or cleaning up the house, or fixing something of yours that was broken. um, kind of finding other ways to apologize. So if that does occur and you do start noticing that, where you're like, oh, okay, well, my fiance just did something really nice for me, or it seems like they're trying to make up for something, I would say point it out and say, hey, I appreciate this nice gesture that you're doing. However, uh, let's talk about the other day, the overreaction. My feelings were very hurt, this was why, but I do see where you were coming from. So that way it could start an open dialogue, because it seems like that's what your fiance is waiting for. Is you know they're kind of going back and forth of like, well, if I apologize it could mean this, but if I don't apologize that could be worse. But if you help open up the lines of communication in that way, then there isn't this whole spotlight is on me. It's the, oh, they're my person is recognizing that I did something nice. And it's more of a, okay, I see you were feeling this way, yes I was feeling this way, so let's start communicating back and forth. But yeah, you might be the one to maybe initiate that communication, instead of saying, hey, you overreacted, you did this. It's, hey, I see that you're doing something really nice for me, I truly appreciate that. While we're talking, let's talk about the other night. And this is how I felt. And now that you've calmed down, how did you really feel? I understand that you were upset, but now that we're both calm, let's talk about it. And it seems like that would be a lot easier for the person to then start going into an apology, saying, hey, maybe I didn't truly mean all those things that I said, or the way that I said them, but this, something really did bother me. And, here it is, blah blah blah. So that way you guys can start that open communication. So I hope that makes sense. Um, so it may be through that discussion that the apology comes through, but like I said, the fiance may try to do the nonverbal apology first, of like, I'm going to try to do these other nice things, kind of like as a makeup, like I want to say sorry in that way. Um, all right, Knowledge Harvester says, hey, I sent you a message request, but you didn't answer. Oh, really? I will. Hmm. Maybe it's in, sometimes Instagram has hidden DM messages. I will check that, because I definitely didn't ignore you on on purpose. I didn't even know you had messaged. I was looking for your message, but I didn't see it. So, if Instagram did that, then obviously I'll put it to, this is not a stranger's message, not stranger danger. Yeah, and then I'll respond to you. So sorry about that. All right, and then we have our buddy 1111. Thank you, thank you. Um, and then our friend Duality Tales. And then Sneha says, hello, ma'am, love from India. Hello, hello. Knowledge Harvester says, these questions people are making here are too personal. You know what? I feel that a lot of times the personal questions are part of our spiritual journey, because part of our spiritual journey is also being a human being. It's the spirit in the human. And so the more we can learn about our 3D world, the more we can understand what's also going on with us spiritually as well. So, okay. Um, And then Raymond was wondering if she will contact today. Um, I don't. I don't really feel the. Like I said, you might have to be the one to reach out, because there's still sitting on the fence of, you know, do I apologize now, or or if I do, it could mean this or that. So I don't feel like she's going to contact today. You may have to be the person who reach out. Um, Space Cowboy, yes, we're doing super chats and super stickers, if you would like, and then I'd be more than happy to pull you a card. Um, and then Knowledge Harvester also helping out our friend Raymond with some advice. Thank you, thank you. You guys are so wonderful with each other. And then we have our buddy John. Um, awesome. Knowledge Harvester says, I live in another country. Do you think you could ship it down here, or are the logistics not worth it? That makes it, yeah. Outside the US, it might be almost the same cost to ship as it is to purchase it. So we'll have to figure something out. Yes, I will check your DM in the maybe secret messages of Instagram. I don't know. But yeah, I'll check in there, and then we'll see what we can do. Like you said, especially since you're in a different country. Yeah, we'll see what we can work out. Okay, so let me go back here. To knowledge harvester. How big of a cat am I? Speaking of cat, the other day there was a nice little calico that came up to the back slider and was just staring at me through the slider. I'm like, hello, kitty. Just staring at me. Those big yellow eyes. She was so pretty. Okay. So knowledge harvester, just tapping into your energy. Okay, well, that was weird. It was like I was seeing two different like cartoon cats like cross each other. I was like seeing I don't know if you know Chester Cheeto. Cheetos, like the orange puffy chips. Don't know if they're popular in other countries. But there's this I guess it's like a cheetah. It's Chester Cheetah. He's like an orange cheetah that likes to eat Cheetos. But anyway, so I saw like that cartoon character passing by one of the Aristocats, which is a Disney cartoon from way back when. The Aristocats. I don't remember. I don't think I actually ever saw that cartoon. I mean, well, that Disney movie. But I do remember what they look like, so it was just weird. It was like the Aristocats crossing paths with Chester Cheetah. Interesting. That's very, very interesting. It's almost like a serious energy following a silly energy, which is both what cats embody. All kinds of energy. They're very dual. They have duality, much duality in their nature. All right, so we have King of Swords with Uranus. I was gonna make a joke. Anyway, let me tap in here. Okay, so just kind of that Lyran energy coming forward, and I've known Lyran energy to be a very, I mean, they have their very serious, very cunning side, but they also have their very cheeky side, and this is the very cheeky side that's coming through. That part of your cat-like nature is when you know you're about to encounter a problem, like this is your thing where you're always like analyzing and looking at situations in order to make sure that you don't run into any sort of problems or roadblocks. Some of us are just we just kind of bumble along like Mr. Magoo, and we're just like, oh hey, now I've stumbled upon a roadblock, or I've stumbled upon this problem, where you're trying to see them before they happen so that you don't encounter those roadblocks and problems. And that's very much actually cat-like thinking. And if you do, let's say, it's unavoidable, and you know that you're going to have this issue in the future, it's going to happen imminently, it's pretty soon, that it's the how can I find the path of least resistance in order to get around this problem. So they said that this is very much your Lyran energy, your cat energy, is that you're always analyzing, always thinking about things, because when you think of cats, we think of balance for the most part, right? I mean, can't really speak for my my two cats that I had when I lived in San Diego. My cat Wally, he lacked balance for a cat, but he's a special case. Anyway, him aside, for the most part, when we think of cats, we think of them, landing on their feet, and they have great balance. That they seem to be really fast, and it's because they've been analyzing situations before, and trying to analyze like which way their dinner is going to run, this way or that way. They've kind of already looked at all possibilities, and so when one of those possibilities occurs, they know how to react. And that's pretty much you as well. And so don't feel like you're, when it comes to problems that you're lazy or something because you're always trying to find the path of least resistance. But that's kind of how cats are. They don't want to expend any more energy than they need when it comes to problems, when it comes to getting food. They try to use their smarts instead of using like sheer will. And so that's kind of the one of your bigger qualities, which, like I said, there's light and shadow and everything. I've said that before. But that's definitely a cool quality to have, is where, I've already kind of looked at all the possible outcomes and ways that I could deal with this issue. And now I see the issue come up, and it's taking one of those things those pathways that I had previously analyzed. And so now I know how to react. And so it seems effortless to other people. Wow, that raven is flying away with a mouse. I guess that means that means that the reading was accurate. Wow. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Raven. um, all right. And so then we have our buddy 1111, and we have duality tales. And I believe we have our buddy John. Yes. Um, Knowledge Harvester says cats are the best. Um, John says, can someone tell me what the theme is for today? Oh, so today we were going to create a tarot spread for the new moon, but we were all going to create it together. So yay! um, Knowledge Harvester says, interesting. I got to eat Cheetos now. It says, that's so true. I do analyze everything deeply when I'm facing a problem, to the point I don't even sleep thinking about it. Yes, your reading was accurate. It literally opened my book. Nice. All right. So thank you, Kayla, for keeping me on track. Okay, so we have our friend 1111. So if you have a question, let me know. In the meantime, I will have my coffee. Very nice. And then afterwards, let's create that new moon spread. That's going to be a lot of fun. And those people who are new, usually when I put DIY, that means that we all create it together. So it's not just me saying, okay, here are the questions for our tarot spread. It's like you guys get to help with it. So we get to create it together. And then I usually will do up like a Photoshop version of the spread so people can see like the picture version of it. And then I do a write-up of it on my blog on my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. So that way people can access that spread. But it was specialty made with our Sunday live chat, specialty created. And then I also post it on Instagram so people can check it out there too. So yeah, that way it's something you guys created, and we've all created it together. It'll be fun. Shannon says, I've been seeing a lot of stuff about cats. Yeah, even one of my friends the other day, she was like, what's with you and cats? And I was like, well, I don't know. They just kind of find me and follow me around. But yeah, their energy as of late, I feel like they've really been more prominent, especially like with me. And I work with, goddess energy and stuff. But the goddess Bastet from the Egyptian pantheon, I feel is been coming in rather strongly. So that's cool. Shannon said, inside the mind of a cat tales, cats being documented on their travels during their time away from home. I actually snatched up a stray cat, and he's almost a year now. Ooh, well, that's so nice. Shannon says, he's beautiful. I bet. I think all kitties, no matter if they're little house kitties or they are giant lions and tigers and oh, hey, there goes a bunny. Speaking of quick like a kitty cat, they're just like bouncy cats with long ears. um, Knowledge Harvester says, oh man, also it could be that I love cheese. I eat cheese weekly. Nice reference about the Cheetos, I guess. You said my spirit guide could be Cherokee. My name is, oh yeah, that was, it was Honky, right? It says, and the references are everywhere. Beautiful. I was just looking through your guys's messages. So yeah, 1111. If you have a question, let me know. And then after that, duality tales. Let me know if you have a question. Be more than happy to pull you a card. And also for our buddy John, would be very happy to do that. Shannon said, even my sister had been getting intuition to get a cat, and she had bad allergies. Well, there you go. That's how you know it was meant to be. Knowledge Harbor says cats are the best healers. Yeah, well, I believe everything has their own special medicine of healing energy. But yes, in terms of cat healing medicine, I love cat healing medicine. Cat medicine is something that I love a lot. Ooh, okay. So 1111 is wondering if Rebecca has a message for him. All right. So let's tap in first while I shuffle. Okay, so as I'm shuffling the cards, it kind of felt like looking down and seeing you and just like keep saying like pox, pox, peace, peace. Um, like that you're being very hard on yourself, trying to like push and especially with some things that were difficult, like the mindset of like, yes, I want to tackle this, which is great, but sometimes trying to tackle it so hard that it causes you issue or anxiety. But yeah, I just keep seeing her doing this like pox, pox, peace, peace. So let's pull a card. Ooh, we have Humera again with the Page of Wands. So yeah, I definitely feel like maybe in your mind you feel like maybe you're not doing too much, but she feels like maybe not physically, but energetically you are doing quite a bit right now. So she's asking you to just have a bit of peace with yourself. Just give yourself some a little bit of tender loving care. Be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself time to rest when you need rest. She knows that sometimes you find that to be the challenge, like, oh, I feel like I don't feel like doing something right now, but that's when I feel challenged and I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. She says sometimes, and you have to use your intuition for it. Sometimes, yes, certain things are put there in our path to see if we could push past them. But sometimes we really do just truly need to rest. And she's saying at this time, this is your rest. Just have some peace with yourself. It's okay if things look like they're moving slowly. They are meaning to move slow in that way, just in order for things to get integrated, for things to be learned in a more broader perspective way. Because if you just push past it, the broader perspective might not be seen. So she's just asking you to just trust the process, just kind of slow down, flow with it. There will be other times where, yeah, you do really have to like go, go, go. But for right now, just hold your horses, just to chillax a little bit. But yeah, definitely being gentle. But she's with that sweet smile that she always has, or at least I always see her with, just nothing but love for you though. Seeing you with like that total unconditional love, like it's okay, like not being mad at you or anything, or saying that you're doing something wrong, but just something that she suggests, like just more peace. Um, all right. So let me go back here. Shannon says their pure frequencies mimic a baby's cry. That I've heard as well. That is interesting. Raymond says, when can I expect communication from her? Because I know she is embarrassed. All right. So yeah, I know that you did another super chat there, which I appreciate. Thank you. So we will get to your question as well. And Shannon says that's why humans love putting the vibration. Oh, the purring, the vibration is the same as cuddling a crying baby, which is wild. That is wild. But I also heard it's really good for like lowering, like calming the nervous system and just like getting in rhythm with your heart, which is pretty cool. And Knowledge Harvester says, people come to me when they want to be healed. I just heal them and run away like a good cat I am. Very nice. Um, Oh, so Kayla says that Cynthia also lives in the White Mountains. Really? Wow. Um, so Cynthia says, amazing. I'm in Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix. Phoenix, not too far, about 4.5 hours. Yeah, not too far away. Very cool. All right, so let me go back here. Do, 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 do. All right, so we had Duality Tales and our buddy John and Raymond Torres, which I saw the question earlier. Um, Knowledge Harvester says, I love your lives. If I was richer, I'd give you $1,000 super chat. Aw, thank you. um, and they said cats are vocal, right? They got good throat. And I've been receiving compliments about my voice forever now. People just love my voice. They do. They can be very vocal with humans. I don't know if they're too vocal with each other, but especially in communicating with humans, they are very vocal. And John says cat purrs can help reduce cortisol and have been proven to heal broken bones faster. And that is straight facts. I have heard that too. So in the 3D, they are also very good, not just energetically. Okay, so let me go back through here to find Duality Tales. I think I saw, but I just want to see again. Oh, it says, I don't really have a question, just anything I need to know for my spirit guides. Oh, okay. All right. So let's tap in. Okay, take this as you will. I'm also going to pull a card too, but like I said, my intuition comes through in like weird pop culture stuff. It's weird. Anyway, I was seeing Scooby Doo, and it was right when they like unmask the ghost or the goblin or whatever it was, and turns out it wasn't a monster or goblin at all. It was Old Man Jenkins or something like that when they pull the mask off. And all I see is like Scooby and was it Thelma and them going, oh, Jinkies. But definitely I keep seeing like something revealed where it's like, oh my gosh, where when you see whatever it was that's revealed, it becomes obvious of like, oh, duh, I should have seen that was, that it was Old Man Jenkins. Uh, um, but my imagination got away from me, my ego imagination, my fears got away from me, and I turned what was actually just Mr. Jenkins or Old Man Jenkins into a monster, when really it wasn't a monster. It wasn't, a goblin or something scary. It was actually the more subtle answer, the more obvious answer. But let's pull a card and see how that Scooby-Doo thing connects. That's interesting. Okay, so we have the moon and Celine. Okay, so which is my cousin's name, Selena. So it does feel like this week, along with what we said during the weekly reading, but for you, it's about like an answer that you get to something, a problem that's kind of been racking your brain, and something that has made you a little nervous, a little fearful, not fearful and like, oh my gosh, I could lose this or that. But, like we were talking with our friend was, kind of anxious about wondering if they were going to get into the police academy. It's kind of that thing where I'm kind of waiting for an answer. And then when that thing is revealed, it's like, oh, okay, well, my intuition said, yeah, it was this. But, when I started worrying, my ego got the best of me and I started going into all these fear thoughts of like, well, what if it doesn't happen? Or what if this doesn't happen? But your spirit guides are saying, it's, it really is the most simple of answers. And it's not maybe some of the, fears that we have, about this situation or this person or this thing that we're waiting on. It's a lot of those fears are not going to come to fruition. It's actually just a very simple issue or problem, and it will get resolved because you do have the know-how. You're a very intelligent human being, and you're a beautiful, energetic human being, and so you're not in alignment with those fears. So, in knowing that you are in alignment with the easier solution to whatever it is that you, and they're keeping it kind of cryptic, that thing that you're worried about. But yeah, that will come to the surface this week. All right, so I hope that helps. And Cynthia was wondering where I am located. I am actually up in the White Mountains. So I'm like northeast, somewhere around there, northeast Arizona. All right, so we also had our friend John. So let me see if John had a question. Shannon says, knowledge harvester, I think you're a Lyran starseed. I agree with that. Knowledge harvester says, no human voice is cat purrs then. Shannon, I am 100% sure about that one. Shannon said purrs, not roars. For sure. So Space Cowboys, sometimes I do mini readings on Instagram. I'll see about it today. So yeah, definitely check me out on Instagram. Sometimes I do like little readings there. I take like people's collected questions and I might like do little readings. So yeah, definitely go check it out. Knowledge Harvester says the lion from Narnia. That's basically how I sound like. And Shannon says, makes me want to start. Sorry, I couldn't read that. Kayla. Okay. So Kayla is saying that John is next, then Raymond Torres, and then Knowledge Harvester again. And Costalini. All right, we will get to you as well. Duality Tales says thank you. You're very welcome. John says I'd like a general. All right. Okay. Let's do it. So let's tap into John's energy. Actually, let me have a little sip of coffee and then we'll tap into John's energy. Okay. Okay. I was hearing one thing, but I was seeing another thing. This is interesting. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so John, I was seeing like somebody at the top of like a diving board, but somehow the diving board is like on the roof of a house. And it's like a bunch of kids like having fun doing flips off the diving board or off the roof into the pool. And everybody just diving in the pool, doing cannonballs and belly flops. And it looks like a lot of fun. But then at the same time, while this kid is like walking to the edge of this diving board that for some reason is attached to a roof, and before they jump into the pool, I'm hearing that song by Third Eye Blind, Jumper. This is, I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties from all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand. Anyway, so that song is playing. But at the same time, the person does jump from the diving board and they do a cannonball into the pool. Interesting. Okay, so a card flew out while I was shuffling, and we have the Emperor with Zeus. Hey, Zeus. Okay. John says, sounds like my neighbor's house when I was 8. Interesting. Okay, so let's tap into here. Okay, it is actually talking about getting conflicting messages also for you, not just for this upcoming week, but just like in general, moving forward, that sometimes our ego mind can be very tricky, and it might try to sound like our intuition. But your intuition is letting you know that whatever it is that you've been working on, whether this is something that's like right, more like pertinent going on in your life, or just like like healing in general, moving forward, that the intuition's like, this is a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun anyway. I don't know if the human's having a lot of fun, but your soul is like, hey, I'm having so much fun, like, let's do some cannonballs. Do some belly flops. And sometimes, sure, yes, when we do weird things off the diving board, sometimes we do get hurt, especially when you do a belly flop. It does sting our belly. We do turn red, and but it doesn't mean that we're going to stop diving off the diving board. It doesn't mean we're going to stop playing in pools just because I did a flop and it hurt. But that's like part of the fun. It's part of the learning. Okay, I'm not going to do that next, but I'll check out what a cannonball is like, and see if water doesn't go up my nose. But the ego is the one that might be like, oh, okay, well, maybe we're not quite ready for this, so let's just step back. We'll just step back from that ledge, my friend. Maybe I'm not quite ready for this, but your intuition's like, yeah, let's go for it. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, your intuition's like, go for it. But the ego's like, no, can we just just chill? Let's just come back a little bit. We'll revisit this later. Not quite ready. um, okay. So after that, we had our friend Raymond Torres. So I remember our friend Raymond was asking if his fiance was going to be calling today or calling soon. So we'll definitely take a look at that. Oh, Shannon was saying aloe rubbing. Okay, cat rubbing their head, head, body, and tail against another cat, a human, or an object to deposit their scent and establish or reinforces social bonds and territory marking. I have seen that. There's like a gland kind of like around here that when they rub their face, they're actually rubbing their scent. I have heard that. My cats did mark me quite a bit and all of my things. Okay, so Raymond, let's take a look. Ooh, and we have the Three of Wands with Ananke. So let's tap in. Okay. It is not likely that your fiance will call today on her own volition. Like I said, you might have to be the one to initiate that conversation or that phone call. But it seems like another person may also be involved, like her friend or something like that, that may also help to prompt her to call. But just her on her own, I don't feel like she is going to call. But if she has a friend or her sister or whoever that she's talked to about the situation, might help to urge her to call, but she would need the help of that person, or if that person is you. So, either you initiate the phone call, or her friend or her sister or cousin or whatever helps her to initiate that phone call. But as far as her initiating that phone call herself, no, it doesn't feel like she would be willing to do it herself. So yeah, today, she may not initiate that phone call herself today. But like I said, if somebody ends up stopping over, she ends up telling that person about it, they might push her to do it. But again, you might have to be that person, because I don't see her wanting to do that on her own. But I hope that helps. Knowledge Harvester says, Shannon, perfect. I shall start rubbing my head on people now. I am a cat. Interesting. All right, and then we have 1111 has another question, which I'd be happy to pull a card on. And Shannon said, Cornell is my dad's name. Oh, very cool. And she said, Knowledge, you're so funny. You make me you make me laugh. Okay, so Kayla said we have Knowledge Harvester is next, Costalini is next, and then 1111. And John says, I've always wanted more information, competent but not confident. So yeah. It seems like the higher self, though, is like, yeah, let's go, like full steam ahead, jump off that diving board. And the other part of me is like, yeah, well, let's just think about this. John, you are so welcome. Okay, so let me go back here. I believe that was to knowledge harvester. So yeah, knowledge. Let me know if you have a question. I'd be happy to pull you another card. And then we had our friend Costalini says, can't wait to chat tomorrow. Can you do a general tarot reading on how my neighbor Natalie is feeling towards me? Which I would be happy to pull you a card. Yes. And then 1111 was wondering if Mr. Cornell has a message for him, and I will look into that as well. Marquez says, oi, hello, hello. Knowledge Harvester says, the spirit guide guy, do I know him? Could you channel him? At a soul level, I would say you know him. We know all of our guides, and like at an energetic level, like there are no barriers. We know we're connected to everyone and everything. It's more our human part of ourself, our ego mind might not, or feel like, oh, I don't know that guy. I don't know who that guy is. Who's that homie? But really, energetically speaking, we'd always be connected. Shannon's like, couldn't you ask? Well, I guess people do lie, but spirit guides different, a little bit different, especially when you're asking with your own energy. Curtis Knight says, hello to you. Shannon says, ooh, juicy, wants to know what the neighbor feels. Yes. Okay. So Knowledge Harvester, just let me know if you had a question, since you are in the super chats. Again, I do love tapping into all your energy. So by the way, while we're waiting for Knowledge Harvester's question, thank you to everybody, by the way, who have allowed me to read for them here. But if you're somebody who's a little bit more shy and you're like, well, I don't really want my reading out there for the interwebs, I do actual personal longer readings, not just one card readings. But definitely check out my website, kittenswaitsandtarot.com. I have conchomancy readings, which is seashell readings for all of my mermaids out there. I also have Lenormand readings, I have tarot readings. I do one-on-one channelings, which if you guys have seen the channeling series, both with our guest interviewer channelers or back when James was a part of that series, then, that's something that I do so that you can connect to the energies that you want to speak to directly. And then I have other things like little handmade things that I do. So, definitely go check it out. Okay. Okay. So Knowledge Harvester, sorry, I didn't see your question there. And it was about the spirit guide. Do I know him and could you channel him? Okay, so give me just a moment, my friend. Interesting. Okay, so before I pull a card, Knowledge Harvester, so your spirit guide, the guy that kind of, he presented himself as being, Cherokee. He's saying you knew me when you were, like you've known me for a while, like we've been energetically connected. But as far as this particular incarnation, this particular lifetime, when you were very young, you may have thought that there was like a not an imaginary friend. That's not really the right way of describing it. But more like when you would dream that you're playing with another little kid. And sometimes when you would draw like this other like little kid, or it's like a repeating cartoon character you would draw, like this like other, like, here's a little boy, and then I'm, but it's like I made him up. It's like he's in my head. But the spirit guide man, even though he presents himself as a man now, he says, in order to not be off-putting to you, he presented himself as a little boy when you were little. So that what you thought was like a made-up character that I draw, or it was just a dream I had of playing with a little boy, He says, that was me. He says, so as you got older, kids grow out of that, they stop thinking about made up or what we think are made up friends that we draw and stuff like that. But he's saying, no, you've known me. You've known me in this incarnation. Just maybe you forgot about me. But I don't forget about you. I'm always with you. Okay. And we have the Four of Cups with sticks here. And that totally confirms, kind of what I was saying, where, you may not have recognized that that was the Cherokee man, that was your guide, because it, as an energy, he was trying to match your level at the time. So, you were a little kid at the time. So it presented itself as also a little kid to try to like help you through things. And it was in a non-threatening way where you thought it was just your imagination, and you're just drawing something. Or you feel like it was just a dream. So, it's not actually real. And in that sense, it wouldn't frighten you as a child. And I know some children are, operate differently where they can see spirits and stuff and they're like, cool, you know. But some kids might be a little unnerved, especially if the parents don't see the same thing. They might instill fear into the child or say, "Oh, there's nothing there." But yeah, he's like, I've been there, and so all you have to do is kind of re-tap into what you think is just your wild imagination. It's actually your intuition. It's not totally wild imagination. So yeah, I hope that connects. Um, let's see. Let's go back here. um, Janine says, "Do you do past lives guide type readings?" I do. I do past life readings. I love doing all my readings. I hate to say I have a favorite type of reading, but I do like diving into the past lives readings that I offer because I find it so fascinating, like the lives that people lived, and just it's like opening a storybook and getting to like read about a person's past story. I think is fascinating. So yeah, I do have those. Shannon was saying something Kayla did was funny. Kayla's like, was I mistaken? Were they a friend? I didn't see, but okay. Knowledge Harvester says, are you sure he is Cherokee though? Could be another native from South America because I am from South America. Well, I mean, as far as like who we are presently, we don't necessarily always have to have our physical blood lineage following us. Sometimes we are connected to other lives that we've had, as our friend was just bringing up about past lives. I know that there are, even though in this physical incarnation, my bloodline is Pima Indian. And I don't have Navajo or Diné. But I do connect to a lot of the Navajo or Diné spirits in the area and up on my hill, even though that's not my physical bloodline. So, and I do consider, a couple of them my guides. So the same thing can be said for you. You may not have like in your actual bloodline Cherokee, but that's not to say that energy doesn't like, working with you. It likes to work with you, obviously, and it doesn't necessarily have to be blood related. So I hope that makes sense. Shannon says, knowledge all native to America share the same origin. At some point we were all native somewhere. I truly believe that, but I know that, usually when people say native, they're talking about like First Peoples, but and all over the world, we were all native to some part of the world at some point. Whether people were native to Ireland or Germany, or native to England, native to the Americas. We're all native somewhere. Shannon says, I mean, as registered Native Americans. Ah, yes. And it is. I know that there's a registry that the natives in the Americas had put themselves on, which was the Dawes Scrolls, but not everyone did for fear of persecution and things like that. So there are people that, in terms of what we're talking about, like Native American blood, that some people do carry that, but it may not say that is a part of their history because they're not on these Dawes scrolls. But there's a host of reasons why many didn't put their names on there. So yeah, it's fascinating. Um, Knowledge says, I don't remember any dream about a kid or drawing him or anything, but I had a dream about a female angelical voices telling me about my past lives in this earth. Interesting. That might be some different guides too, kind of the female angelical voices. Interesting. Hmm. Well, it seems like you've always been surrounded, well, I guess we all are, surrounded by so many different types of energies. It's just the ones that we're tapping into. So perhaps the ones that you were most connected to at the time that you remember are those female angelical voices. But the Cherokee man does say, he's like, I was in there somewhere, even if it wasn't too prominent to you at the time. But I was there. Shashi says, where am I from? I am from the States, USA. Shannon says she said that without reading further comments. Ooh. We're all connected though. Lineage doesn't matter who or what we're born into. We are all, yes, energetically, we're all one. We're all sharing this collective experience through all of our multitude of different bodies and different backgrounds so that we can enhance the one, which is all of us, so that we can all learn. So we're all doing our own individual, leading out our individual lives so that we can help the whole. We are a piece of that whole. And Costalini says, we're all just some Anunnaki experiment. There's many layers. There is the layer that is that, the matrix, not just Earth, but like that the 3D matrix is part of just an Anunnaki experiment or reptilian experiment. But then there's the other layers, of like, free will violations. And then there's the other layers of, we came here voluntarily. And then there's all the other layers. There's so many layers, both light and shadow in light, of course. And John says, I love that we're all family, that we're connected to all lands. Yes, both physically and non-physically. Okay, so let me go back here. And answer our friend Costalini's question. Because I am going to be chatting with Costalini tomorrow. Very excited about that. But wanting to know how my neighbor Natalie is feeling towards them. So let's see. Let's tap into your energy first. Okay, I was hearing that song, Cruel Summer. It's a cruel, cruel summer. Now it's gone. You're not the only one. It's a cruel, cruel, cruel summer. But it was connected to this totally cheesy B-rated movie I watched back when I lived in Orange County. It was called Blue Crush, but I know that there was like an actual more blockbuster Blue Crush movie, but this was like a more B-rated version of that B-rated movie. Maybe it's like a B-. And it was more like an indie film that I picked up in one of the surf shops where I lived at the time. And yeah, I watched surf films because I'm a dork like that. And anyway, they play that song. I know that song isn't specifically for that movie, but that's the movie that comes to mind every time I hear that song. So I keep seeing like a surfing, and it's like, it's a cruel, cruel summer. So let's see what that means in connection to how Natalie is feeling about you. And we have the 6 of Wands with Nike. Okay, I see what's going on. So the reason I had to see surfing connected to it is in order to feel the emotions that are coming through. And so she is attracted to you. She does feel this like, attraction. But it's I don't know, kind of at that stage of, I don't know if it's like worth saying anything. Should I say anything? Is it, would I just look silly? Is this something worth pursuing at the moment? So I feel like she's kind of just trying to feel through it, kind of like surfing the waves. She's just surfing her emotions at the moment. Like, how do I feel about him? It's like, well, he is attractive, and a lot of the things he does are attractive. But would it be awkward because we're neighbors? There is that. So um, maybe she wouldn't say anything. I still feel like she's gathering and seeing if this is just a crush. Like, is this just like the crush of the month club? I just happen to have a crush right now, or is there something more? So I think she's just waiting to see if there's something more without having to push it and without having to say anything about it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I definitely feel there are some feels there, definitely, for sure. All right. So let me scroll through here. I missed a lot of your comments. My apologies. But hey, for everybody who comes back and watches the replay, watch the chat, read the chat, because there's a lot of fun stuff happening there. A lot of people sharing wonderful messages, lots of cool chit chat back and forth. I think you guys are great. Hey, Angela is here. Angela says blessings and hello, everyone. Hope all is well today. May angels wrap their wings around you and Mother Gaia bless you today. Amen. Amen to you, my sister. All right, so then we have our friend 1111 after Costolini. Costolini says, I think you're spot on. I'll tell you a little story tomorrow. Okay. Don't forget. I want to hear about it. Oh, thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you. Laura, yes, you can donate through PayPal. I do believe that my PayPal link is in the information box down below the description box. Also, you could go to paypal.me/kittenswaitstarot. And that is my PayPal donation. So if you want to do that, just let me know. And then I can pull a card here. So yeah, so it is paypal.me/kittenswaitstarot. Yay! Yes, so it's Kittens Waits Tarot. So I know that my screen name on YouTube is Kittens Waits and Tarot, but PayPal didn't accept such a long name, so it ended up just being Kittens Waits Tarot. So, all right, so let's go back here. And our friend 1111 wanted to know if Mr. Cornell had a message for him. And so I will definitely pull a card and look into that. I'm just scrolling through here. All right. And I believe that's our last person for today, unless Laura would love to do PayPal, which I said, you could do that if you would like. But also I believe there's like a little money symbol at the bottom of the chat. And if you click on that, I think that's how people are doing the super chats and super stickers. It's hard for me to see on my end because I don't see it because I'm I'm part of the live chat. So it's hard for me to see. Okay. Let's tap into Mr. Cornell and our friend 1111. Okay. All I saw was his I could see him holding a guitar, and I could see like his black fingernail polish, and it's like he went to go strum it, and it was the gosh, what string is that? It's the thickest string on the guitar, the bass string. He hits it, it snaps, it flies forward, and he's like, just because we bust a string doesn't mean we throw away the guitar, right, man? He says, we just put a new string on and we try again. But yeah, he's saying just because one little thing doesn't go the way we want it to, and even though we ourselves may be at our breaking point sometimes, doesn't mean that we need to throw the whole guitar away. Doesn't mean that we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes we just, he says, take a breather. When you're ready, put a new string on it and we try again. Okay, so okay, let's pull a card. Ooh, all right, all right. Ooh, we have the Empress with Hera. So let's tap in. Yeah, I feel like he's almost reiterating what Rebecca was saying, you know, to have peace with yourself. And it kind of feels like what Mr. Cornell is saying is that it's almost like the strings have been tuned too high, like everything is too taut on you right now. Like everything is so intense. And he understands that. And he's like, and he says, sometimes we don't realize that over time, he says, sometimes we think, he goes, you know, he says, try to understand this analogy. You know, sometimes, yes, he understands in reality with guitars over time, like everything gets detuned to a lower note, right? But in your case, sometimes it's unknowingly hitting the knobs that the strings have become tighter and tighter and tighter, so that when we go to play and something breaks, we don't realize how tight we've become, how anxious or intense, we've been feeling, the intensity of things that we've been feeling, until something goes wrong, and it's like then everything just like comes out of the bag, like all of the emotions, everything happens. And he's like, and sometimes he says there's lessons in that too. Sometimes it's made to go that way. Maybe we're not always tuned, in balance, but sometimes we need a string to break here or there for us to realize kind of how we've been feeling and why we do this to ourselves, why we become high strung basically, with certain things that we're doing. He says we just don't know until a string breaks, and we're like, one thing goes wrong. It's like normally I wouldn't react this way, but because of how I've been feeling unconsciously or subconsciously, I reacted in this manner. And he's saying it's okay. Reactions are reactions. And then we have to go back and realize why we reacted that way, what we're actually feeling in the moment. And he says, and when we're ready, we put a new string on. So I hope that makes sense. And let's see, let me go back here. All right. So Laura says she donated on PayPal. Excellent. So if you did that, thank you, thank you. And let me know your question, and I'll pull you a card here. Um, oh no, knowledge harvester. Uh, Shannon's like, oh no, you are now heartless. Oh, so silly. Um, Nick is wondering how Shannon is doing this Sunday morning. Hello, Nick, by the way. Angela says, hail to the queen. I love Hera. Hera is amazeballs. Nicholas is like, Bjork, any thoughts? You know what? I used to listen to a bit of Bjork back when I was in college, actually. I was just looking at some of the comments here. Laura says, okay, how Felipe feels about me. I hope to see him again soon. And we talked about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and tap in and pull a card for you on that. Knowledge Harvester is talking about a musician from back in the day. He says that Kurt Cobain loved him so much, he sang a song of his called Love Buzz. Interesting. Interesting. You're bringing up Kurt Cobain. Check that out, 1111. Okay. Okay, so how's Felipe feeling about Laura? She hopes to see him soon, and she says they talked about it. So let's tap into the energy first, and then I'll pull a card. Okay, I don't know if you've ever seen this show or whatever, but it's like from the 70s. It's Three's Company, and so I'm hearing the theme song to Three's Company. Come on, knock on my door, come on, knock on my door. Everyone's waiting for you. Three's Company too. Okay, interesting. So, I mean, that sounds positive. Okay, but let's see how that connects to the card I pull. Very interesting. So random how my intuition works. Okay, so we also have the moon. I think we pulled that earlier for someone else with Celine or Selena. Let's tap in. Okay, so Laura, I feel like Felipe, you know, does have feelings for you, but kind of in the um, shy, like the only way I could hang out with this person is if I have like the only way I could hang out with Laura is if she has a friend or I also have a friend, and it just feels more comfortable if there are more people involved because for Felipe it would be like too soon, too much for like just the two of us to just hang out and, maybe talk, but it's like, but I kind of like her, and I do have feelings for her. But I just feel more comfortable when it's her and other people, involved. Like we're all kind of hanging out as a group, with others. Um, and it also, just like we were talking about with Costellini and his neighbor, Natalie, um, this like, I need to get more intel and how I can learn more about you in a low key, no pressure environment is when we hang out with people we know, if that makes sense. So it's like, I want to know more about Laura, but I don't want to do it on a one-on-one setting because I'm kind of way too shy for that when it comes to emotions. Maybe not in my personality, but when it comes to emotions, I am kind of shy. Um, but if there are other people involved or there's like another friend, then I feel more at ease. And it's like, okay, now we can just hang out and I can like be me. She can be her. There's no like having to put on any sort of airs. And then I can learn more about her that way. Um, let's see, let's go back here. Angela says the intuition makes a good radio. I think so, because there's a lot of different unique songs that come on my little intuitive radio station. uh, Laura says, we've hung around all the time alone, but but not like alone. Let's talk about our feelings, like alone, really. I don't feel like this person wants to talk about their feelings alone. Like it just feels more comfortable with friends though. I just keep getting like the friends. I feel more comfortable when there's more people around. Um, so you guys may very well have like been alone together, but it's like if I want to talk about stuff that I feel is more personal, sometimes it's better when there's other people, like feelings personal. But in terms of just like, let's talk about our romantic feelings, like not quite ready for that one-on-one yet. Laura says, I'll donate one more for another card if that's okay. Sure, that's fine. No worries, my friend. But Laura will be our last one because I do want to get to our DIY tarot spread for the new moon. I want you guys to help me come up with the questions so we could do that spread. And then afterwards, we'll do our channel guided meditation and we'll call it a Sunday. And very fun Sunday it has been, by the way. John says, your intuition shuffle playlist would be bomb. Maybe I should do that. One of these days, I'll go back and watch my own replay of my live chat, see which songs came up, and then we can create like a mixtape on that. That might be kind of cool. A super weird mixtape. Let's see. Knowledge Harvester says, in the end, it's a good lesson for all of us. Happier that I am. Shannon said, is your choker a tooth or a jaw? This is actually a tooth. It's the tooth off of a gray wolf, which actually I found a gray wolf skull on my property a while back. And yeah, I just really love wolf energy. So I carry that with me as kind of a reminder of some of that wolf medicine. Knowledge says it's a wolf tooth she found laying around dead. Yeah, well, yeah, he was just kind of laying there just like, I mean, mostly skeleton, but I think it's been only dead for about a year. Knowledge Harvester says he thought it was a tiger tooth. And just says, OMG, music-themed tarot readings with the Intuition radio station. I know, right? John's like, yeah, weird is good, though. Sure, I agree. Laura says, I can't donate anymore, but thank you so much. Thank you, Laura, for what you did donate. And thank you for everybody who did those donations. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into our creating our tarot spread together. Yay! Laura says, so sorry about that. Hey, no worries. No worries, my friend. I thank you for allowing me to read for you in the first place. So thank you. Angela says, ooh, you found a wolfy spirit. Wolf vibes melt my heart. Yes. Knowledge harvester is like she was laying around dead, like nice. Okay. So let me put these cards away for the moment. And let's create a tarot spread together, you guys. I'm super excited about that. All right. So I brought a piece of paper and a book to write on. I may need to make my fountain pen get some of the ink out to get it to write again. I think she is writing. Don't let me down, Visconti. Okay. All right. So I'm going to draw a picture of a moon. And let's go with 1, 2. Let's go with 4 questions. Yes, let's do that. 3, 4. So remember, this is going to be the new moon plus solar eclipse. Okay, so yeah, so beautiful, right? Okay, so just 4 cards. But yeah, let's come up with some questions. So maybe you guys can do it in all caps. Those people that are going to offer up a question to add to the spread so that we can use it as our questions for our spread. So put it in all caps. So you could say, I don't know, new beginnings that the new moon is bringing in for us, something like that. So any questions that you think are good for pertaining to the new moon or its astrological sign that it is in, or something about the solar eclipse, we'll all add that to this 4-question spread. So like I said, please, if you have a question, put it in all caps so that I could write it down and I can see it clearly as being part of our tarot spread. So it'll be a tarot question. John says 4 is a sturdy number. You know, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some like grounding, you know, because that lasts with the new moon. Woo! OMG. So with this moon, I want a little bit more groundedness, especially dealing with the solar sun, you know, and having it eclipsed. You know, we can have something about that. Let's see. Knowledge says, do you have more of the teeth left? You could donate necklaces to us. I kind of want to leave the rest of his teeth in his mouth because I have it's a whole complete like skull. And his name is Green. And he lives in my cabin. But yeah, I mean, he's kind of cool. I don't want to take all of his teeth out. Then he'd be a toothless wolf. But I do have one of his teeth. Shannon's like, way to hustle, Knowledge, raffle them off. For sure. But hey, if I come across any more skulls, maybe I will harvest their teeth and see what we could do with them, create some medicine, you know? Angela says, I'm going to get 2 crystal dragon heads soon. So excited. One is big and one is little. Aw, cute. You know, I have 2 crystal dragon heads as well. I have one that's made out of Amazonite, and I have a smaller one that's made out of Merlinite. And they're actually underneath my altar. They got some awesome energy. So Percy is wondering if it's Scorpio. Oh, awesome. Here's some questions here. So Angela says, what will the coming eclipse bring us? John says, what light have I been hiding from myself? Those are 2 freaking fantabulous questions. Let's write those down. So let's get 2 more questions going, you guys. Thank you. So this is from Angela. So I'm going to write your name in here. Angela Prayer Poems. So that way I can give you credit where credit is due. Because you guys created these questions. What will the coming eclipse bring us? What will the coming eclipse Come on, English teacher. Bring us. And then our buddy John came up with the second one. John Gross. What light have I been hiding from myself? Okay. What light have I been hiding from myself? I had a song pop into my head, but anywho's. Percy says, I never understood the altar in the craft. I make altars everywhere. Well, you know what an altar truly is? It's just an external representation of us. Like we are the living, breathing altar. So basically everything that we place upon a physical, tangible altar is really just perhaps it's our ego connection to the spiritual self. So like when people place, like, let's say water on it, it's just really a connection to our emotional state, our divine feminine. You know, sometimes when we place the wand on the altar, it's really the external representation of the divine masculine and the magic within us, you know, because real wands, there are fingertips right here. Like we are the wand, we are the altar, we are all those items that we place on our altar, which are just representations of ourselves. So yeah, I totally agree. We can make them altar anywhere because we are the altar. We are the traveling altar. Okay, so what is the synchronicity? Ooh, okay. Between the new moon and the solar eclipse. So what is the synchronicity between the new moon and the solar eclipse? And I want to write down Shannon's name. Give credit where credit is due. Shannon Tannehill. All right. And then there were some other capitals. Okay, and then let's see. Then we had, actually there was two more. So let's pick one. So one is okay, so the synchronicities have been happening frequently. Okay, so yeah, let's oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So let's rephrase it. Why have there been so many synchronicities? Why has there been? Many synchronicities. All right, great question. And we have our final question with what forgotten angel or guide will return with the eclipse? Beautiful. What forgotten angel or guide will return with the eclipse? Okay, and then that one is also from our friend Angela. So I'll just do a little doot like that. Okay, all right. Thank you guys. You guys have great questions. Let's take a look here. So of course, I'm going to type this up nicer. I'm going to put it on Instagram. I'll put it on my website so you guys can see the photoshopped version that I've created with your nice questions and like what the meaning were behind those questions. Okay, so let's actually do our own spread that you guys created. Yay! Good job, you guys. You guys are freaking awesome sauce. So I'm going to pick a deck here. Oh, I can't forget my coffee. And yeah, we'll pull these cards for ourselves, and then let's do a channel guided meditation, and then yeah, we'll call it a fun Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to use the Practical Magic Oracle, and Okay, so I'm going to pull the cards for myself. So I encourage you guys to pull the cards for yourselves as well. Or if you want to do it for the collective, that's cool. Um, Shannon says, we're too fast, boy. I know, right? Angela says, our vibe is glitching the YouTube matrix. Oh, I bet, I bet. Percy's saying the ones asleep haven't figured it out yet. You know what? But remember that we're all one. So there are some that are meant to be awake in this lifetime, some that are meant to be asleep in this lifetime, but we all have our different missions and our different perceptions and beliefs and the way we see the world and the way we live our lives. Oh, sorry, helps the whole, so, and all of our learning is that way, although we have our individualized learning missions, I feel that we're all learning as one consciousness as well. So we need all these varied different backgrounds. We need the ones that are asleep as much as we need the ones that are awake, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. We need the different, Okay, so first question, which comes to us from Angela Prayer Poems. What will the coming eclipse bring us? All right, so let's see. I'm going to pull these cards from me, but I encourage you guys to pull cards for yourselves as well, and let me know your answers. Like, put it here. Let's see. Percy says, I am immortal. Our souls are immortal for sure. We are eternal. Shannon said, totally. Percy says, good or bad, I'll come back, but I use the craft for God, and I'm glad we have people like you. I'm glad we have people like you and all the peoples of the planet, all living out these different lives that we couldn't possibly live in one lifetime. So I appreciate each and everybody's mission and what they've chosen to come here to Earth to do, Nick is telling Shannon that he lives in California. John says, at work, I'll pull some and put them in the comments later. Okay. Angela says, the meat suit is an experience we are forever. Exactly. Okay, so let's pull a card for me. So what will the coming eclipse bring me? Let's see. It says, rest and restore, rockabye. Well, I hope that's good. That makes good balance, because with the full moon that we had, that lunar eclipse, I feel like a lot of stuff came up, and there was a lot I was moving through, and just like, it was a lot. So it's nice that this is kind of going to be the opposite, where it's not so much action and energy, at least for me personally. And maybe it's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more cool. Just like, I kind of need that at the moment. Okay, I can get it. John says, I'm definitely an experience. Yes, you are, John. Let's see. Angela says, you were just saying the last one was wild. Yes, I totally believe that. So the last moon for me, wild. This moon, maybe a little bit more chillaxed. So I'm hoping for that. I hope that that's what that brings in. But of course, we create our own reality. So maybe I can create that reality for myself. Shannon says, is that a birthday and time, possible location, and I see, name for, okay. The second question was from our friend John Gross. What light have I been hiding from myself? Great question. Another great question. What light have I been hiding from myself? Okay. I love synchronicity. Shine your light. Are you serious? This is light and dark light. So what light have I been hiding from myself? It literally says shine your light. I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, okay, so let me tap in. Okay. All right. I sure like when the cards I pull for myself can get nice and personal for the internet, Thanks. So, saying for me personally that the way to shine my light more is to allow the all the aspects of myself, both the light and shadow aspects, to come through, especially with the people that I love and care for. That not to like hide one aspect or another, even though it's, we see it as a negative aspect, or maybe that aspect's too bright or whatever. So for whatever reason, we might want to hide an aspect of ourselves because maybe we think that the person wouldn't understand, or maybe we feel that the people wouldn't, they would judge us, or whatever it may be. That it's better for me personally. Like I said, I'm pulling these cards for me, me personally, to allow both what I see as shadow and what I see as light to come through. Whether it's in my personality, it's in my emotions, it's in my energetic body, or it's just in me physically. To kind of allow that to just be, so that way I can get a full and complete picture of myself, where I'm not technically hiding things from myself as well as hiding things from other people, but like to give them that complete picture so that they can be clear on like how to connect to our energy. And then I can be clear on how I can connect to my energy better as well, if all of me is there, both and my shadow, or what I view as my light and my shadow. Very cool. So yes, so Angela had that, she's reiterating the question, what light have I been hiding from myself? Okay, so this next question comes from Shannon Tannehill, and it says, what has, why has there been so many synchronicities lately? So for me personally, why have there been so many synchronicities? And it, of course, will probably be a different answer for everybody here. So definitely pull those cards on yourselves, you guys. So why have there been so many synchronicities for me lately? What are the synchronicities trying to tell me? Actually, let me write that down too. I think that's there's my pen. I think that's a good way of saying it. What are the synchronicities trying to tell me? Okay, I like that question. What are the synchronicities trying to tell me? So thank you, Shannon, for that. So what are the synchronicities trying to tell me? Okay, the shine your light again. So I guess those two questions for me personally, I guess, were actually connected. So kind of trying to see things line up, whether they were like I might see a more shadowy type of synchronicities and more light-based synchronicities, but really the bigger overall perspective of that is that my soul was just trying to show me that when we bring that light and shadow together, how things can just be more in alignment. They're a lot more clear. Just like we see synchronicities clearly, I can see myself more clearly, like I see the shadow synchronicity and the light synchronicity, if I could just allow myself to show all aspects of me instead of hiding parts that I think are less favorable, or maybe not, I don't know, maybe that I don't like so much about myself, but maybe I could look into why I wouldn't like those things, So maybe it's just the ego's point of view and not so much the higher self's point of view, because the higher self's like, we are awesome. Da, 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 da. Okay, so our final question also came from our friend Angela Prayer Poems. And it says, what forgotten angel or guide will return with the eclipse? Okay, so for me personally, then, what forgotten angel or guide will return with the eclipse? And it's interesting. When I was younger, even before I went to Catholic school and elementary school, there was this being that I guess I just called her my angel, but I would draw her. I never gave her a name, I guess. But I always imagined that she was with me and that she was always like by my bed. It was almost like an imaginary friend. But I saw it as an angel. But maybe, I don't know why I started thinking about that. Maybe that's her. It's coming back around. But let's see. What forgotten angel or guide will return with this eclipse? Okay, it says feel your emotions, and it has Lady of Water. Let me tap in. You know, it could very well be an angel, but I'm seeing it as a more as a goddess like Yamaya, you know, with the water. And I feel like that it's interesting that water energy has been coming up, but also I've had a lot of emotions come up. So I that is very cool because I you know, sometimes I dream of things that I can't do here. Like, you know, I live in the mountains, so I can't really go surfing in the mountains. But for one, you know, a particular time in my life, I was very connected to the ocean. Like I was surfing like every day. If I was ever in a bad way and I couldn't go surfing, like, you know, maybe I would just go walk along the shore and put my feet in the water. Um, but yeah, for me, like the ocean was very cathartic. I could do a lot of my thinking there. I always felt safe in the ocean even after I had my drowning experience, I still felt safe in the ocean. I still felt like it was like my greatest teacher, and yet like a mother of shadow and light. So I do feel that watery energy coming back in, possibly to help me through emotions. You know, because I know that water is connected to those emotions, but maybe there's something I could see from something I used to do and love, like surfing or playing in the water, body surfing, boogie boarding, and stuff like that. Um, that I could that could aid me in the emotions that I'm working with now, like the healing that I'm doing now. So very cool. Thank you, Angela, John, and Shannon, for helping us out with those questions today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Angela says, for some reason, I've been drawn to the angels and biblically accurate angel stuff lately, not even sure why. Well, you know, I'd say tap into it in meditation. You know, there's obviously a reason it's coming up. And maybe there's just something to learn from the research that you do. Percy saying also to research Cleopatra. Oh, she is an interesting character. She's an interesting character to channel. And one day I do want to channel her for the channeling series. I think that'd be great. By the way, if there's anybody who wants to be a guest interviewer for that channeling series, definitely message me on Instagram at Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, or send me an email, Tara at kittensweightsandtarot.com. And I would love to have you guys as guest channelers. Let's bring in the community. John said, thank you. Angela said, that was so fun. And Percy was saying that she was hated for her brilliance. Yes, Cleopatra was an incredibly intelligent woman, knew multiple languages, and had a way of connecting to people. And sometimes people are threatened by the light that other people shine and threatened by other people's brilliance and intelligence. So yeah, definitely a wonderful person to channel. Angela says, I learned so far to find the forms with all the eyes beautiful instead of scary. They will look like raw, fluffy chaos. Ooh. Okay, so let's do our channeled guided meditation, y'all. Let me point this in a direction that may have more than just my mug in it, you know? Okay. Let's zoom in. Whoa, extreme close up. Okay, let's take a look at this tree and we'll meditate with this tree. I'm going to have a little bit of coffee, so give me just a second and then I'll get started. Okay. All right, you guys. So get yourselves in a nice, comfortable space, a place where you guys will be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be laying down, sitting in a chair. You could be laying underneath a tree, any place that's comfortable for you. And let's bring our awareness to our breath. Just feeling the rise and fall of our chest. How the breath feels, perhaps it is shallow or deep, fast or slow. No judgment, just noticing. And as you breathe in, notice where you breathe it into your body. Notice how it makes your body feel. Perhaps you feel it more in one part of the body than the other. And every time you exhale, again, noticing how it makes you feel and where you feel it. Perhaps you feel the exhale coming deep down from your tippy toes. Perhaps you feel the exhale coming right from your throat. or perhaps deep in the lungs. But as you focus on the breath, let's go ahead and place one hand over our heart and one hand over our belly. And if our breathing has been rapid, let us slow it down now. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Holding it, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling slowly, 2, 3, 4. Holding it again, 2, 3, 4. And continue in this rhythmic breathing, in and out, feeling absolutely at peace and grounded in this moment. Feeling this moment is just for you, your energy and your well-being. With every inhale, feeling renewed and invigorated. With every exhale, feeling that much more relaxed as you sink into this meditation. And now I want you to visualize looking up into the night sky and imagining a bazillion glittering stars and constellations, galaxies upon galaxies. So many things that are often missed with the light of a full moon. But in the new moon, we're able to see what is usually more difficult. So as we look up into this sky, we ask the new moon to show us what it is that we may miss sometimes when we shine too brightly, meaning maybe we don't acknowledge our shadow side, but allow us to see the light within that shadow, the brilliance, the stars that are within us, the galaxies that live within us, that sometimes we can't appreciate when we fail to see our shadow aspect. What is the light within our shadow? What are we afraid of? What is it that we can learn about our shadow that would actually help our light? And we thank this new moon for allowing us to see this in ourselves. And perhaps you feel the answer in your body. Perhaps it comes across as a sound or a song or a scent. Perhaps it's an image in your mind's eye. But allow your intuition to speak to you in the way that it knows best. And remember, you can come back to this meditation anytime you wish. But we thank the solar eclipse, we thank the new moon for allowing us to see our shadow, because that is part of our whole. We can't be all shadow or all light. We're dualistic beings, a combination of two, but there's light in that shadow just as much as there's shadow in our light. But this eclipse and this new moon helps us to see these things, and so we show gratitude for that. And we're also reminded that we are the moon, and we are the stars, we are the eclipse, we are the sun. All these mirrors, we thank them. And when you are ready, go ahead and bring your awareness back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and toes, and perhaps have yourself a nice little stretch. All right, you guys, let me zoom back out here. Yay! Let me go back here. Thank you guys for joining me today. Yes, I have my Lavi, my little hippo. He's nice and warm, so he's just like on my tummy right now. But thank you guys for hanging out with me during this live chat and hanging out with me on Sunday. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are awesome sauce. I love all the knowledge that you guys are sharing. Thank you to everybody who helped me out in creating that new moon slash solar eclipse spread. I'll make sure that within this week, I will post it on my blog page, and I will also post it on Instagram, so you guys can go check it out, and so other people can utilize it. I will make sure to give credit where credit is due, because you guys were the ones that came up with these questions. So thank you, thank you. Thank you to everybody who did super chats and super stickers. I truly appreciate you guys, and for allowing me to read for you, and also for the people that do readings outside of YouTube, that allow me to do kind of like the bigger scale readings and channelings for them. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Thank you to my mighty, mighty moderators. I hope you have a fabulous week. You can always DM me on Instagram. Let me know kind of how the weekly reading maybe connected with your week and things like that. But thank you guys. I hope you have a rockin' week. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys. Happy Sunday.